Now let's go a step further in our model. Let us now also do some calculations. Let's go to the attribute table, add a field, and calculate the areas, and then maybe do some statistics on this. Everything you've ever done, there is a tool for it that we can call up in ModelBuilder with very, very few exceptions. So first of all, we would have to add a field to our attribute table. We could find that either here under data management, under fields, there's a whole bunch of tools that relate to fields, and we will use the add field. I add my field to the ModelBuilder window. I know my attribute table should come from my final layer here. So there are now I'm adding my input table. And then there are a number of fields that I want to make a variable. The one is the field name, to keep that generic. Let's put it here right now. And the other one is the field type. And in my case, I want the field type to be a float. And right now, my default field name, I want that to be area, and I want area in hectares. And now we see the add field tool has all the variables it needs, and now it could be executed. Let's just change a few things around here. And try to stay consistent. And I'll make this also here input parameter, so the user can change it. So now the next thing is to calculate this field, and we can do that in two different ways. The one is, let's find out if there is a tool that calculates geometry. Add geometry, calculate geometry attributes. There we go. So we're adding this to our ModelBuilder. The updated input table becomes our input feature. And now the property will always be area. So we can hard code this. Area units are in hectares. And the field is area hectare. And as an afterthought, it's probably a good idea to make our area units also a variable, so that we can change it from hectares if you wanted to maybe square kilometers or acres or whatever units you prefer. And I make this now a parameter. Now let's have a quick look here. Last time we ran this model and we look at the attribute table, because the output file is located in a geodatabase, we have automatically the length and the length of the polygon boundary and the area of the polygons combined. And here we have what we know are multi-part polygons, and we only have 8 different kinds of polygons. And we hit run. And now let's open up the attribute table. And here is our area in hectares and the calculated areas. And you can see they coincide, of course, with the shape area, which is by default in square meters. Now that we are done with this model, we want to fix up the flowchart a little bit, because it's a really great communication tool to show exactly which individual geoprocessing steps you have carried out for your analysis. So let's go to, first of all, fit the window. So we see all the elements. They're not really aligned. There are different distances between the various elements. And what we could do is we could go to auto layout. And right now the auto layout, nice, evenly spaced, even symbology, even organization. But we have now control about making some changes. We can control more of the model diagram under the ModelBuilder diagram toolbox. And there we have things such as flip orientation, which means if I turn this off now and back on, then our orientation now went from horizontal to vertical. So that is a nice sequence of organizations, and we can just accept the default settings here. Another thing that we could do also is change how the connecting arrows are arranged, and we can do that here by, for instance, choosing cascading ones. Now we always have right angles, so it looks a little bit more chaotic. We could also have nice round shapes, such as these ones here. That looks more quiet and a bit more organized. So I want to choose this right now. And the last thing that I would do in my ModelBuilder, of course, is I will save this. And then also what we can do, we can export this flow diagram right here. And we can either export it as a graphic so that we maintain the flowchart, or we can export it into a Python file. So now we can export our model. We can either export it into a Python file. We choose a folder where we want it. We give it a name. The name is the same as the ModelBuilder's, just with a py extension. I hit save. We'll open this in a moment. The other thing we can do is we can also export the model directly into a Python window. So here now we have a Python window that opened up, and here is the same code that we have just saved as a py file, and we will go through this Python code a little later in detail. And the third option, we can export the graphic. Let's just save it as a PDF file right now, clip buffer, the same folder. And now let's go to the folder and open up those files. Here's my graphic that I just created. So there's the entire workflow, nicely organized. We would just need a caption down here, and we have a nice figure for a report or for a poster. And here is our Python script, and I want to open it up with IDLE. And we can see that this is already now interpreted our Python code. We have different colors for different functions, such as red is for a comment. A comment starts with a hashtag. We have definition files. We have certain keywords that are restricted Python script words. And then we have a whole bunch of variables in green. More about this again later. So the key thing is that you can develop your model in ModelBuilder and then save it as a Python script. That's all for today. Until next time.